When I was little, I thought that investing was for the rich, but then I studied finance at college and found out that was far from the truth. Today, I'm here to explain why I believe everyone should invest, especially if they're young. I will go over 5 concepts that explain why everyone should start investing in their 20s or as soon as possible. Hi, I'm Raquel and I love learning about personal finances and investing. So much that I even studied it in college. And that's why I created this channel, to help others with what I know and what I've experienced. The compounding effect. The compounding effect is famous in the world of personal finances, and it applies to money and really anything else in life. This effect explains why your money grows faster when you invest it rather than saving it or just leaving it in your checking account. The reason behind it is because when you start investing, you invest an initial amount and you get paid a certain interest on that money. So for example, if I invest 10,000 euros at an 8% interest rate, next year, I will have 10,800 euros. If I reinvest that again, in a year from now, I will not have 10,800 again. I will have 11,664 euros because I didn't invest only 10,000. I invested 10,000 plus the interest, which were 800. I love how it is explained in the book The Psychology of Money. The book explains how Warren Buffett, one of the best investors of all times, whose net worth is currently around $145 billion, made his fortune. He started investing at 10 years old with around $100. After that, he basically devoted his life to learn how the financial markets work. But there are a lot of other investors that have done the same and aren't as rich as he is. The key is that he started investing at 10 years old and has never retired. And he's currently 94 years old. And as the book says, investing is his skill, but his secret is time. And that's basically how compounding works. The sooner you start and the later you end, the better. So there are 2 takeaways here. Start early and stay for the long term. The second concept is inflation. Inflation is the generalized rise of prices. Think about the cash that you have in your checking account. It won't buy you the same thing this year than the next if prices keep rising, because inflation is the purchasing power of your money. So when you sit in cash, you're basically losing money. Inflation makes your savings depreciate, but it also makes your assets appreciate. Think, for example, if you own a house, this year might be worth 500,000, but next year it's probably gonna be worth more. That's why I don't wanna have a lot of cash. I wanna have a lot of assets. And that's exactly why I invest. If you think about traditional families, how is it that they haven't lost their fortunes after generations? Because they don't just have money, they mainly have assets. They don't sit in cash. They have real estate, businesses, stocks, lands, and so on. The third concept is freedom. Money doesn't buy us happiness, but it will buy us freedom. That's why my main goal is to have financial freedom. I don't want tons of cash. What I want is to work doing something I love, to have time to take care of my family, to travel, to see the world, and basically to live life in my own terms. And I'm sure you know the saying, no one saves their way to wealth. So in order to create wealth and financial freedom, we need to invest in assets that grow over time. Assets. Another famous book in the world of personal finances is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The author, Robert Kiyosaki, says that rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that think they are assets. It's crucial to know the difference between an expense and an investment. For example, a car will always be a liability, unless you're buying a luxury car that will appreciate over time, but I'm guessing that's not the case. So for example, I hate when a friend of mine tells me I'm gonna invest in a good pair of leather boots, because anything that takes money out of your pocket is an expense, and anything that will eventually put money into your pocket is an asset. Furthermore, investing doesn't only increase your assets, but it also reduces your expenses because you're reducing the amount you have available to spend. Opportunity cost. Today, I can either invest a certain amount of money or spend it in other things like traveling, eating out, buying clothes, or whatever. But in 10 years, I might need that money to save for my kids' college tuition, for example. The key here is that if I lose money now, I don't suffer as much as I will in the future. If my investments go wrong now and I lose money, I don't face many consequences. Of course, I may have to reduce my expenses or to eat spaghetti for the rest of the month. But when I'm an adult, I will have to face big consequences if I lose the money. And that's the takeaway here. The opportunity cost of investing in your 20s is much lower than investing in your 30s or 40s. These are the 5 reasons why I believe the best time to start investing is in your 20s. Stop thinking that you shouldn't be doing it because you don't have enough experience, money, or knowledge. Because as investor Michael Butnick says, some lessons have to be experienced before they can be understood. Investing at a young age will allow you to build wealth in the long term. And believe me, if you don't start today, you will regret it in the future. So if you want to start investing, let me recommend you this book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, this podcast, Girls That Invest, and yes, if you're a guy, you will learn from it too, and the YouTube channel of Toby Newbat. He explains everything you need to know in a simple way. These are the resources that I would use if I wanted to start investing today. I promise they will help you, and instead of confusing you, they will encourage you to start investing. If you watched until now, thank you. I hope it was useful. If you want to start investing like me, but you feel lost, leave me a comment or write me a DM on Instagram, and I will gladly help you. Share this with a friend and don't forget to subscribe.